So I dropped a poll on my community tab asking what the first video of 2024 should be, and as expected, by a landslide, the Record of Ragnarok video won out. And the second place was again another Record of Ragnarok centric video, but this is the video I expected was gonna win. Now I do cover One Piece a lot on my TikTok, but it does seem like the majority of my subscribers are my Record of Ragnarok people. But I know I do have a lot of people subscribe for One Piece content, so I will be making that Kizaru vs Luffy analysis video coming for sure. I just might wait till the next chapter just to get absolute confirmation on a couple different things. I'd also like to extend the channel, so let me know in the comments below what's some other series you'd like to see me cover on this channel. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the future of Record of Ragnarok. Now this final panel of chapter 85, last chapter, is more controversial than I previously thought, or at least has been a very relevant topic of conversation. Now this panel says, Ragnarok, the last battle between gods and humans, round 10, Susanoo versus Okita Tsuji. The battle begins. Now when I originally read this, I obviously thought that it just meant Record of Ragnarok in general. The Ragnarok tournament is the last battle between gods and humans. But there is people out there that believe that this means round 10 is going to be the final round of the tournament. They think that we're going to be ushered out of the tournament and things are going to spill off over into an all-out war. Now I've talked about this all-out war, but my speculation has never involved it intervening in the actual tournament. My speculation was always that it was coming after the tournament. Now, this does have some legs to stand on, given that there is a very major event taking place right now, as I've covered extensively, with Odin taking on both Buddha and Beelzebub as we speak. This altercation was not resolved this chapter, meaning it is going to spill on over into round 10. We're probably going to be getting frequent cutaways back to this interaction. And it doesn't seem like something that can just be resolved by Zeus intervening. Of course, I do believe he will show up at some point, but at this point, is it really going to be a scenario where Odin is in a position to just let Buddha and Beelzebub walk away with all the information that they've gathered on him at this point? He now knows that they're furthering their investigation into his plans and now pose a significant threat to those plans. I don't know if Odin wants to let these two go to just convene, plot, and maybe even involve Zeus into a trifecta all opposing Odin. That would completely negate his plan before it even gets a chance to be actualized. So what takes place here is going to be very interesting. Now, as a whole, I do still believe that this has no bearing on this being the final fight. I do believe we are going to continue on with another round after this, and I think that it in general does mean what I initially interpreted as just Record of Ragnarok in general. Last battle between gods and humans. I think it's just a hype tool statement. I also don't think that the author would really put this out there if it was going to be a major spoiler like that, telling us we're going into the war. I guess you could look at it on the other foot and be like, oh no, this is just something that's supposed to fly under the radar, and we're going to look back at it and be like, holy shit, the writing was on the wall the entire time. I mean, sure, I guess it's possible, but I'll let you guys decide that. Let me know in the comments below what you think and what do you make of this statement. Now, as far as the future of Record of Ragnarok goes, where I do think we are going, I think that we are setting ourselves up for massive plot details post Ragnarok. Now, part of the reason I think that is because at this point we've gotten numerous characters that have concealed abilities. We started things off with Zeus not using his divine weapon in the fight. It was directly mentioned he went into that fight without a divine weapon for a reason, basically just being a braggart, trying to take on a human, didn't think that he was worthy enough to fight him with a weapon. But it does mean that Zeus is concealing a power, obviously probably his lightning bolt, that we should be seeing at a later date. Now, a similar thing could be said for Beelzebub. I made a ton of videos talking about how I thought Satan transformation was going to play a part in that Tesla fight, and I actually thought it was going to be the reason Beelzebub won. Now, Beelzebub ended up winning without even needing to transform, and of course, the conditions for his transformation also don't seem to allow him to do it at will. But I thought Tesla and Beelzebub were going to have some kind of a friendship connection in that fight, where Beelzebub actually was so happy at the prospect of losing to a superior scientist, to a superior fighter, that because of that emotion, Satan was going to emerge. Now that did not happen, so we still have this Satan character that is left out, meaning that Beelzebub still has another tier of power to go through, especially with the revelation that Satan just is Beelzebub. He just doesn't have control over that aspect of his ego or alter ego or whatever the case may be. You also have characters like Hermes, who's obviously concealing fighting prowess, has been able to deduce things that nobody else has been able to, was able to see attacks nobody else was able to see, and always seems to have the inside track as to what's going on, even in the most recent chapter, having full knowledge that Okita Tsuji was going to be the human up to the T for round 10, and was able to tell Susanoo even before the communion of the gods. He's obviously not on the roster, so anything involving him and his fighting is going to either take place in an offshoot fight or after the tournament. He also hinted at the fact that he does have fighting prowess because he wanted to challenge Shiva himself. It was under the prospect of the dance, but we all know what that means. Another character that fits this bill is Adamas. Now, some people believe that Adamas could be that 14th god, as I've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, that there is a prospect that they are going to need a 14th god to fill the shoes, because in the Buddha fight, of course, he takes up a spot that flips to the other side, and then Zero took Bishamon's spot because Bishamon is a part of Zero. So essentially they wasted 2 gods in that fight, only replaced one of them with Hades. So there's another spot that needs filled if all humanity's fighters are going to fight. So some people think it's going to be Adamas. I personally don't. So I think that that's another god that needs things to do post Ragnarok. Now there is kind of a constant that's taking place right now. Characters like Beelzebub, Buddha, Thor, Zeus, obviously, and prospects like Loki and Odin, it seems that characters that have ties to greater plot lines are going to win their fights. When Beelzebub had his plot line with Odin prior to his fight, it seemed that that was going to lead to him surviving so he could finish off that plot, which we do get a payoff for. Same thing goes for Buddha, where he is obviously opposing all god kind. Now I do think the same is going to be true for somebody like Loki. I don't know how we get there, because we only have one more god win that can take place, unless the gods are going to just outright win the tournament with 7, because they already have 5. I never expected Apollo to win his fight, but I am glad he did in retrospect, because I love his character. Somehow, some way, I do think Loki is going to win his fight, to not only be one of Odin's leading officers along with Thor, but also now due to the prospect of his relationship with Hilda, because there's going to be some kind of conversation between him and Siegfried, unless of course Siegfried is his opponent, which I doubt. But some people seem to think that that might be the direction we go in. And honestly, with the way things are looking, under the pretense of what I'm saying, I would think Odin would of course win his fight too. And with this giant chapter, with his major goal being the eradication of humanity to what I said, revive Ymir. I get into that details of that in this video right here. Check that out. It might be a scenario where the gods just win, but it spurs on a war where the gods actually have to fight back, and the humans could earn a chance to live after the fact. Now we'll see. As far as this Okita Susanoo fight, I do think you could make an argument for Okita winning, because for numerous reasons. One, I don't think Susanoo is going to be a god in position to win, especially when I think Loki and Odin are definitely going to have higher likelihood of winning their fights for plot reasons. Susanoo seems kind of like a one-off kind of character. I don't see him having much deeper plot lines going forward after this fight. For 2, he also has those plot points to somebody like Loki, where he already had the tease of them fighting. A lot of people thought they were going to fight in the round because of it, but now it could spill on over into post Ragnarok. He also has Kondo, which we don't know if he's going to be part of this fight or not. If he's not, kind of leads to Okita winning even more. But there's also the prospect of a draw happening here. I do think we do seem to say this every round, but this round does seem like a great round for it, given that they're both manslayers. Greatest god slayer, greatest manslayer. It's going to be a truly honorable battle, where I told you guys in my preview prediction, I think that there's going to be a ton of care taken in this fight, especially given that Okita is a character that was already well established in his own manga that is canon to Record of Ragnarok by the mangaka. I think that it's possible he gives him an epic send-off here with an epic fight against Susanoo, where they potentially both take each other out in Blades of Glory, in absolute bliss, and one of the best fights in Ragnarok. So those are my predictions. I would say it's either Okita winning or it's a draw. I don't think Susanoo can win this fight for plot reasons, really, but I could be wrong. I didn't think Apollo was going to win either, but he did. Completely caught me off guard. So take that with a grain of salt, but let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think is going to happen with the future of Record of Ragnarok? The only thing that kind of counteracts a lot of this stuff is that it is a monthly manga, which does kind of suck, because it means that if we do go on the entire time with a full rounds of Ragnarok, it's probably going to span longer than 2 years just to even finish the tournament to potentially get into a post Ragnarok thing. So that might add credence to the fact that this could be the final round that people think. I don't know. I'd love this manga to switch to weekly. I don't think it'll happen, but it's a lot of content that needs to get through. Maybe we just need to be patient, but let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.